Well, hello and welcome to the Super Connector Show, where I'm delighted to be joined by Alfie Joey, aka the Speakeasy Guy, who is also an artist, a presenter, a comedian, a comedy night host, an award and event host, and a former BBC radio presenter. Hello, Alfie. Thank you for being here. How are you doing?
It's brilliant to connect with the super connector himself. Brilliant. No, right, really excited. I love doing this sort of thing.
No, you're fantastic. So, for anyone, obviously, I've given you a bit of an intro there, but for anyone that doesn't know who you are and what you do, what are you doing with your time these days?
Yeah, well, you led with Speak Easy Guy, and I'm trying to almost be a little bit more focused on that because I think in the past I've had so many plates spinning, and you mentioned quite a few there. And it can confuse people, and it can be a bit much. Certainly in the business world and in the LinkedIn world, it can be
Mhm.
a little bit confusing. So I've just been a little bit more focused recently, and I just call myself a award-winning MC and keynote speaker. Obviously, all the other stuff, some of it I still do in the background as side hustles, but my main focus now is about keynote speaking and continuing with the MC work.
Yeah,
Those are the main priorities.
yeah. Well, you are excellent at doing that. Obviously, I've seen you
Oh, thank you.
um, host of events like awards
Mm,
events, but obviously you did an amazing job of co-hosting our Startup and Scale Up Week event recently. So
mm.
thank you again for doing that. You were
Oh,
so good at that.
well, it was a joy. I loved it, and I remember having a chat with you about that. And you said what day one looked like, and I said, "Have you got a host?" And you said, "Well, I'll do it." And I said, "I don't want any acclaim. I'll just do offstage announcements." But I've done so many of these. I just thought it was useful, for you to have a bit of support in the wings because people don't know what goes on in the wings and don't know what goes on backstage.
No.
And I just to shine a bit of a light on that, I think there were times during the morning, during the afternoon where the next speaker hadn't turned up or wasn't there, and you're going to find them, and I'm filling, or I was doing something and you were filling, and that's what it takes. That's what it the preparation that goes into making something, the effort that goes into effortless
Uh-huh.
is huge. So many people say to me, "God, you make it look so easy. It's effortless what you do."
Uh-huh.
But still to this day, I've hosted the North of England Law Awards, the North of England Accountancy Awards at the Hilton recently, and I've been doing them for over 10 years. And I still get there. I get there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I have a run through just for me, just go through tech stuff, and then I still get there at 5 o'clock and do 2 hours of relentless repetition. So the more I go through it on the page, the more it comes off the page at the event. And then, you'll see lawyers, people who are highly experienced at communication, still fluffing the odd line with. They've only got a paragraph to read, and
Mhm.
they'll get a bit dazzled by the lights. And even highly experienced performers or presenters, I would say, still need to prepare, and I still
Mhm.
do that. I still boringly put a lot into it because
Yeah.
it looks good if you look slick and polished.
Yeah, well, you do make it look effortless, but I know it's you
Mm,
do put a lot of effort into it, and
mm,
obviously the conversations that we had help as part of that. But you
mm,
really do your homework as well. You do sort of gen up on the speakers, and you
mm.
really understood what the event was all about. And I really appreciated having you there backstage and in the wings with me. And there were times when it was just like, all right, I liked it. It did feel like a proper team, where it was like,
Yeah.
all right, next, should you go on now? All right, you go on, do this
Yeah.
bit, and I'll do this bit. Then, well, yeah, we were not making it up on the fly, but some of it we were.
No, it was,
Some of it
it
we
was
were.
that's what happens. The more you're prepared, the more you can improvise.
Mhm,
And I find that as an interviewer, if you're hosting an event, or as a speaker, if you're really prepared, you can go off script
mhm,
because you know what you can come back to, and you've got that skeleton of preparation.
mhm.
And yeah, you put so much into putting so many speakers on, and you knew them all really well, and
Mhm.
you were well briefed. But I had to do a bit of homework on some of them, and it's amazing. You again, if you're well prepared, you can enjoy the day more,
Mhm.
and you can listen as well as you can get lost in the conversations or get lost listening to what they're saying. And I bet you do. I keep having flashbacks to the best bits of all of the days of the week,
Yeah.
and little moments and little sayings and little um, pieces of advice. That's what those days are all about. They're about giving value and giving great information and insight. And whether it's Daniel Priestley, Adslad for me was just his energy, his raw energy,
I was so
and
happy
his
to see him on stage, and I was just smiling throughout that because I knew
yeah,
what a big deal it was for him. Because I think it was only the 3rd or 4th time he'd
yeah.
spoken in public on stage. He's normally behind the
Mm,
camera, but he
mm.
really sort of seized his moment and just
Oh,
shone really brightly on that stage, didn't he?
that story about getting a one-way ticket to Dubai, taking a massive risk, finding the influencers round the pool and videoing them and saying, "Do you want this content?" It's just it was a lesson learned for me. It was
Mm.
the risks I should have taken ages ago. It was exciting,
Yeah.
brilliant.
No, I loved it. But yeah, but also like the bits in between the obviously you're hosting and you're introducing, but like the bits in between when you're having little conversations with the speakers at the end of their talk as well, you were excellent at that and bringing them out
Mm.
of their shells, some of them as well.
Or just being able to ask Daniel Priestley, why do you do this? You don't have to do this. And he was just really easy to talk to, really exciting to talk to, and
Mhm.
his enthusiasm for that kind of gig. And I think his answer was he did have to do those sort of things. He loves it. He really enjoys it, and he loves giving his book away. And
Yeah.
it was funny because I've read that book and I love it, but he gave away copies, so I took away a key person of influence
Mhm.
to read again. And funny enough, on day two, I was coming home with someone who'd spoke at day two, and just bumped into him on the metro, and I gave him the book. Yeah, I told him about how day one had excited me, and I said, "You need to be a key person of influence as a videographer, as a storyteller, as someone who's a brand specialist. There's the book. Read it."
Mhm. Yeah, it's a great book. So yeah, and I did
Mm,
see that guy that you're talking about. I think it's Paul.
mm,
Posted
yeah.
about that on social media. So yeah, just those little things, sort of the byproducts of the event and the
Mm,
conversations and the what it's all about. Where I think that sets you apart totally to other event hosts and speakers that you do get so involved in the event and
mm,
you didn't need to, but
yeah.
it was amazing that you did, and I could tell that you weren't. It wasn't just a gig; like you were enjoying it as well. You were getting
Mm.
something out of it, and then you were coming along to the other days as well and really getting involved. And I think all the delegates really appreciated having you around as well, being able to spend a bit more
Great.
time with you.
I
So
think if I try and do anything, it is shine the light firmly on the speakers. It's not
mm,
about me. It's not
mhm,
about me. It's about them. And yes, I do research, and yes, I gen up on everybody, but I try and do it if whenever I do a multi-speaker event, I try and let the guests shine. And I'm just a vessel, I'm just an instrument to make them memorable. And
mm,
I try and do research, and I make it clear I do the research, but I don't show off with
mm,
that.
mhm.
I think it's
Yeah,
important not to, to make it look like you know more than the guest who sat there. You've got to
mm,
leave the expertise to them and let them shine. So
yeah,
that's my advice
yeah.
to other
Well,
people who compare and stuff.
yeah, well, you did it. Well, you're very good at that. But there's different roles, isn't there? So you did do a
Mm.
keynote on day 4 on the Thursday,
Yeah.
which was brilliant. And that's a different type of
Mm.
um, thing that you do there to day 1 when you were there as the host and the conduit and bringing out the best in the speakers. So I know you're obviously you are a professional event host and an MC, and you get paid to do that. But you are doing some. You do coaching and training for
Mm.
others on not only how to be a great speaker, but how to be a great host. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, I do. Whatever the style of communication is, I'm obsessed with the subject, and I
Mhm,
realised that I've always been obsessed with the subject of communication ever since I was a kid. I think it comes from a very young age. I used to be able to do impressions, so I was always studying other people, whether it was presidents or newsreaders or people who I would do impressions of.
mhm,
um, I always studied communication, and I loved my favorite types of show were presenter-led chat shows. I loved Michael Parkinson's show, Michael Aspel, Desert Island Discs, whatever those shows were. I was obsessed with them. Not for the guest, usually. It was the way the host shone the light on the guests. And then I became really obsessed with American talk shows. So from Johnny Carson, the Irish host Gay Byrne, who did the Late Late Show for decades in Ireland,
mhm,
and just watching their skills and what were they doing and how were they shining the light on the guests. And I just love it as an art form. I love it as a a product. And yeah, I still study all of that kind of stuff and impart that sort of stuff in whatever the format is for people or for businesses or charities or individuals.
mhm. Amazing. So, so are you running that at the moment? Are you doing that training?
Well,
Have you got
here
something coming up?
here is your scoop on the Super Connector show. Dear audience, come along on August the 12th. I'm doing a really, really special original experience. But my favourite theatre is the Customs House. I've done pantomime there. I've hosted events there. I've hosted the awards nights and all sorts there, every kind of event. And I just love that space, love the stage. So I've got the main room, the main auditorium, the main stage. About 10 to 15 people, no more, will be sat around on that stage, and we'll have a lectern, we'll have a mic, and we'll just be doing a 2.5 hour session just for us. And that's it. Grab a space now. It'll be a really unique theatre to ourselves experience. Being on that main stage, you know what it was like being on stage at the fire station,
Mhm.
and that warmth, that feeling of being in a theatre. I don't think you can beat a theatrical experience. I
No.
know there's some great hotel rooms, and I know there's some great auditoriums, even but a theatre, there's something warm and
Mm,
special
mhm,
about being on that stage. So whether you're doing your first TED talk or want to do one in the future, whether you've got a big presentation coming up, or just to feel like you do that kind of talk one day. So it's for every level, whether you're versed or in this or you're new to this. It'll be a very, very secure environment, constructive. There'll be no sort of tearing strips of anyone. This is about making it feel brilliant. I'll have a videographer there, so you'll get a clip of what you've done, but we'll give you feedback on the day, August the 12th. It's £185. That's everything. There's free parking there. It's a short walk from the metro in South Shields. And that's it, August the 12th. Alfie Joey's Speakeasy School. Summer.
amazing. Summer school. So how do you book that? How do you find it out? Find tickets for it?
Direct message me. Direct
Right,
message me. I've give you the scoop on this, Paul, but I'll be putting this on my socials tomorrow.
right.
But
We'll put a
you
link
heard it
underneath
here
this as
first.
well. Either me or you can put a link underneath this
Great.
video as well.
I'll do
Awesome.
that. There'll be a flyer, and it's just it's something I'd love to do more of when I've got
Mm,
more time. But I'd love one day to do it at different theatres
mhm.
around the northeast and different venues, and just to have that experience of standing on a stage and
Yeah.
just getting some really, constructive criticism and advice, tips, tools, and tactics. I love improving people's skills because, as I said in my keynote, I think people are not sharing their stories. People are not, they're sitting on brilliant stories and they don't get them out there. And I just, especially charities. I do
mm,
lots of charity work. I do lots of charity events, and I think they're the worst culprits. They sit on the best stories,
mm, mhm,
and I think they should be churning them out. This is the golden age of storytelling. We've had storytelling since time began. It's the oldest art form,
mhm,
from cave paintings. But now I say it's the golden age of storytelling because it's the age of the panel and the podcast. We've had the Zoom boom. Look at what we're doing now. It's the Reels revolution. And once upon a time, to sell your business or your charity, you had to get a billboard, or you had to get an advert in Yellow Pages. You had to get um, an advert on commercial radio. They all cost money. And
mhm,
now this this is where you put it, and this is free, and
mhm,
people are not doing it. And I'm
mhm,
absolutely baffled by business. I'm in networking groups, and I do free sessions for them, and I'll say, "Come on, do this, do that. I'll do a voiceover for you." And the people
mhm.
are very reluctant to tell a 60-second story for free.
Yeah.
And I just
Why
go,
yeah.
"You
Why
must
do
be mad."
you think that is? Why do you think people don't do it?
Well, I think that there
Charity.
is that hesitance, but public speaking is scary. Public speaking
Mhm,
is awkward. There's that reluctance to be in. I don't want to sell myself. I don't want to. I'll give you
mhm,
an example. I did a comedy gig on New Year's Eve, and it wasn't that well attended. And I asked the guy who'd ran it, what kind of marketing he'd done. He said, "Well, we did a few posts on LinkedIn, but I don't want to make people annoyed or feel sick of
mm,
me." And I went, "You can't, because people move on. They just scroll past.
yeah.
You'd have to do thousands and thousands of posts a day to make people sick
Mhm,
of you. They just move on."
mhm,
So I think you can't tell enough stories about yourself and share them, and they've only got to be short, very simple. There's so many different ways to tell a simple story about your business.
mhm,
And I'm bursting to share this with as many people. Obviously, it's my living, but I do it for free a lot of the time because
mm,
I just
mhm.
want more people to do it. So many
Yeah.
people are reluctant.
Mhm. Well, you are a good example of it. You do. I th I think you are charismatic anyway, and you are likable, so people just
Mm,
warm to you. You've obviously got all your experience, and people
mm,
are drawn to you and do like listening to you,
mm,
and you're obviously very good at what you do. But, you do regularly share
mm.
little snippets and interesting videos, and, but
I do.
you do it a lot, don't you?
But I have, people say, "Well, it's all right for you. You've done it for years." But again, in my keynote, I say at every level of communication, I was dreadful at the beginning.
Mm,
Listen to anyone's podcasts in the early days, whether it's Gary V, whether it's John Lee Dumas. They'll all say themselves they were dreadful at the beginning. It's just practice. It's
mhm,
just rehearsal. And also, you don't have to be like Graham Norton or Ian McKellen or me to do a good post. You look at some great TED Talks, whether it's Steve Jobs unveiling the iPhone, whether it's Bill Gates talking about malaria and releasing the jar of mosquitoes. They're great moments in time. They're not natural storytellers. They're not
mhm, mhm,
sort of your ideal chat show host. They're just passionate
mhm.
about what they do, and that's all you need. And
Yeah.
I say this in my networking group. All you got to do is remember what excited you about your business.
Mhm,
What excited you when you came up with that light bulb idea? Share that, because you won't be going, "Hello, I sell telecommunications." You'll go, "I sell telecommunications. It's brilliant." It's literally turning up the dial a tiniest bit,
yeah.
and sharing that level of enthusiasm.
Yeah. No. I think you're right. When people are trying to come up with something to
Mm,
talk about or to
mm,
share, but it's better if they're doing it in the moment or when they're actually
mm,
feeling excited or
yeah.
happy about something that they've just done. And
Mm.
I know not everyone's like that, but most people at some point in the day will do something that they're enjoying or
Oh,
that they're liking doing.
absolutely,
You'd hope so anyway,
absolutely.
and
Yeah, yeah.
definitely if you're a small business owner or even a big business owner or leader, um, And totally right. I totally agree with charities and third sector organisations. I remember when social media was first becoming a thing. I mean, you're talking about 2009. That's when I
Mm,
really started getting into it. And I remember going to a talk where someone was, there's this new thing called social
mm,
media. This is how you could use it. And the penny dropped with me. I was just like, this is amazing. Like, we
yeah.
could use this to get our message out for a not for profit social enterprise I was working for at the moment. And I was doing a lot of work with charities and third sector
Mm.
organizations and trying to get them to use it and whatever. Because you're right, they're doing amazing things all day, every day.
Constantly, yeah.
Yeah, and why aren't they sharing? And it's
I
free, and
think,
it is free. They don't need to pay for an
yeah,
advertising agency to do the work for them. They can do it themselves.
yeah. And it is sometimes about, I think what a lot of charities do, they look inwards. They're aware of all the stuff they've got to do, and it's just about looking out, looking
Mhm,
out. I think sometimes you do need a bit of a helping hand with structure or ideas.
mhm,
I'll give you two. I'll give you two now. And I collect these constantly. So I haven't got all the answers. I'm still learning myself. I got one yesterday
mhm.
from, this is from the actor Chaz Palminteri. He's in gangster movies. He's a Hollywood actor,
Okay.
but he's also a great screenwriter. And he said, and you can apply this to any YouTube short, post about your business, post about your charity. So he said, imagine every story you post is you getting stuck up a tree, and then you get stuck further up the tree.
Mhm.
And then that's act one is being stuck up a tree, act two is being stuck further up a tree,
Right.
and act three is how you get down. So every movie, he said, every great movie has that as a model or can use that as a model. And he said most writers get stuck with the getting stuck further up the tree.
Mm,
And it's about problem and resolution. So he says, Jaws, you get stuck up a tree, we've got a shark. We get stuck further up the tree, more and more people are getting killed, and then the resolution is we kill the shark.
mm,
Um, and you could apply that to your charity. Whatever the problem is, whatever you solve, and then it gets worse for people, and then problem resolution. Another one is, I love this one. Aaron Sorkin, who wrote A Few Good Men, and he wrote The
mm,
West Wing, great writer. He
mhm,
says he worships at the altar of intention and obstacle. So again, any movie, any sitcom you like, there's an intention, there's an obstacle, and then there's a resolution. So, for instance, Spider-Man. Spider-Man's intention is to make the town peaceful and nice. The obstacle is the Green Goblin, and
mm,
the
mm,
resolution is getting rid of the Green Goblin. So you could
mm,
apply that to anything, whether you're a plumber, whether you're a charity. Well, there's thousands of stories in your day that do that. But when
mhm.
you're watching a sitcom at night, just look out for that, or a
Yeah.
movie, and you
Uh-huh.
think, how can I condense my little 60-second YouTube reel into that?
Mm,
Intention, obstacle, resolution.
mhm.
And that's
Okay.
it. Or
Right.
every LinkedIn post could be like
Yeah.
that. You draw more people in if
Yeah.
you tell them how you can solve their problem.
Yeah. Okay. You've got me thinking. I'm gonna have to
Mm.
try and come up with
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Um, I think it's
You do it all the time.
go on.
You do it all the time. You do it. You do it constantly. You solve people's problems as a
Yeah.
super connector, as a as someone who puts on events. Every time you do a platform event, there's an
Mhm.
opportunity to tell those stories with
Yeah.
intention, obstacle, resolution.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think I've been doing what I do for such a long time, and I know I'm doing good work. Right? I know I
Yes.
am. Right. I still struggle to articulate that or get that across
Mm,
um, to people that haven't experienced that or haven't been to an
yeah.
event or not spent any time with
Mm,
me. Um, so I'm always trying to think
mm,
of how to get that across, and I don't always do it. Well, I
mm.
don't always do it
No,
very well.
and that's important for me to acknowledge that as well. I set out my big message to people at conferences, or whether it's going into do a workshop, I say, imagine if your communication went from being memorable to being unforgettable.
Yeah, yeah,
It makes a massive difference. It will revolutionize your business. Now, you can't always do that, but if you aim to be unforgettable and you just end up being memorable, that would
mhm,
still transform your business.
yeah. So who was your favorite speaker? I'm putting you on the spot here. Like, who would you
Um,
say
I'll,
is
I'll give you
unforgettable?
I'll give you someone who I don't think is a dynamic speaker, but I find his content constantly quite dynamic. He's big on LinkedIn. He's called Niall Ratcliffe,
Okay, don't know.
and he talks about his big thing is about how to do better LinkedIn posts,
Right.
and he
Okay.
talks a lot about that Aaron Sorkin and intention and obstacle.
Mm,
He breaks it down constantly. Niall Ratcliffe, I really like him. I've listened to him on a few podcasts, and again, he's not like sort of a Michael McIntyre or anything like that. He's a very modest, humble type of speaker. I sometimes prefer that type of
mm,
speaker.
yeah. I suppose. I mean, I've not heard of that guy, so I'll have to check him out. But it
Mm,
sounds like he's been consistent. And you are as well. You started at the beginning saying,
yeah.
focused on being the speakeasy guy. I think
Mm,
that is good if people get clear on who they are and what they want to be
mm,
known
mm.
for. So
Yeah.
once you're clear on that, then that makes it easier because all of your content should relate to that, or link back
Mm,
to that, what you want to be known for. Because I think a lot of people, including me, myself, sometimes you think, oh, I should be doing a bit of this, I should be doing a bit of that, I
mm.
should be talking about
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
and it's just it's confusing to people. People can't
Yes.
handle that. But then when I think about the people that I like the most on social media, they are very consistent. They tend to talk about the
Mm,
same things again and again.
mm.
Um,
Yeah,
and okay, that's the guy or that's the girl that does that, and that's the person that does that. And even though often they're saying very similar things, I like it because
yeah,
I'm nodding and I'm like, okay, I like this sort of
yeah.
this style of what you're saying and what you're doing, and it's resonating with me.
Yeah, I do the same. I listen to the same sort of podcasts and the same people who say the same thing over and over again because that message eventually uh, breaks down what I'm not doing or gets in that
Mm,
way. And one of the reasons I did pantomime the last 3 years, and I do think you have to do things you really enjoy and
mhm,
have fun with. But I found when I was getting to November, I started to have a different persona, obviously, because I'd be dressed as an admiral or an
Slapping your
emperor
thighs
or
all the
something
time,
cool,
and slap.
big red nose, and it was great. But the optics are so crucial in business, and the optics are so crucial in the LinkedIn world and social media world. So when it got to November, everything changed, and for 3 months I was a whatever, a pirate or whatever. And then it gets to January, and the audience are going, "I'm not quite sure what this guy does. What do you do? What do you?"
Mm,
And I also run and have done the last few years a confidence through comedy course in January, and which again is connected to public speaking, but I might have to even think about not doing that because people are saying, "Oh, do you also do public speaking stuff?" And I'm going,
mm,
"Yes, that's
mm,
what
mm,
I mainly do."
mhm,
And it's so important to be just really, I think, narrow on here and focused. I've still got an art page on Instagram because I still
mhm,
do art. That's still a side hustle,
mhm,
but I keep it there now, and I've got a Speakeasy Guy page on Instagram and on LinkedIn. Nearly everything I talk about is about either being an MC or a keynote speaker.
mm, mhm. Okay, no, that's good. I like that.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I mean, I suppose I'm just already thinking now what I need to change a little bit about what I'm doing because I think everything that I'm doing is about connecting people,
mm,
and bringing people together.
yeah,
Definitely the events, and I do a
mm,
lot of behind the scenes as well, connections and introductions and signposting, which isn't always
Mm.
obvious that I do that. But but yeah, I'm probably in danger of looking like I do too many things because yeah, I can do a bit of coaching,
Yeah.
do a bit of mentoring, I can do a bit of consultancy, but really, it was probably at the end of last year when I admitted, okay, I'm an events guy. I need to like
Mm.
really.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I put on great events. Um,
Really good events. Yeah.
so yeah, so just like really highlight that at every
Mm.
opportunity. Um,
And I think if you've got a clear umbrella, you are the super connector, and I think that's still a valid umbrella for putting on brilliant events and doing
mm,
all the things you've just mentioned. I
mhm,
think people know who you are, um, in in your world, in the northeast certainly, and now Edinburgh, and you're expanding slightly. And
mhm.
I don't know what your goals are, but I'm trying to expand and make the ripples a little bit broader, because in the northeast I'm luckily very, well known, and I get booked a lot. But I think to move on and to make things a bit bigger and better, I'm going to have to expand the ripples a little bit and go
Yeah.
a little bit further, and that would be a great challenge. And I think a mark of success for me would be having bookings from people who don't know me in the northeast, but they
Mhm.
they go, well, we've seen what you do on YouTube, or we've seen what you've done on social media. Would you come and do our conference?
Mhm. Well, I'm sure that will come very, very soon,
Mm.
Alfie, and if there's a way I can help you
Right.
do that, I will.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I mean, that's one reason why I do this podcast and
Mm,
videos and social media because yes, I am very well known in the Northeast, but also across the North and further afield as well,
mm,
like nationally and internationally. But every now and then, I get someone get in touch and say, "Oh, we're trying to do something in the North or the
mm.
Northeast, and we've heard that you're the guy to know, or the
That's
someone
great.
that we need to speak to." So that is great that like the
Mm,
reputation does spread and people do want to. And it's usually businesses or individuals outside of the region that want to
mm,
come in and do some work here, and I'll advise them on how to do that. Um, and I love that, and I will if I can. But I definitely would like to do more. I'm still very northeast focused and
uh-huh,
north of England focused.
mm.
Like, northeast is my passion. This is where I live,
Yeah,
and this
yeah.
is what I love. But I'd like to do a bit more national and international
Mm.
work as well.
Can I ask you, as we're on LinkedIn, um, is that where you get most of your interest or inquiries, or is it website, or is it on the phone? Because for me, it's the power of LinkedIn is
Mhm,
phenomenal. And Daniel Priestley was really good on day one of Startup Week, talking about how it is underused and people are reluctant to post on it regularly, comparatively, when you look at how many thousands of people use it. I can't remember the exact statistic. I took screen grabs of it and I've used it
mhm.
since, but it was quite a surprising statistic about how many people post, how often people post, and how many people are looking at it.
Yeah, it's quite a small percentage actually post,
Mm,
isn't it? Most people are
mm,
just consuming and or lurking and watching to see
mm,
who's doing stuff. Um, so when it comes to social media, definitely LinkedIn is the one that I get the most engagement and do get
mhm,
inquiries through that. But I find a lot of people are just lurking, and I
mm.
see a lot of people who are just liking,
Yeah.
sometimes commenting. I pay for the premium business, so
Mhm.
the next level up from a free account is the premium
Yeah, yeah.
business. I think it's about 50, 55, 53 pounds a month or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, and I do find that really valuable, but only if you use the
Mm.
features in it, right? But one
Yeah,
of
yeah.
there's two key features in that I think are really good. One is you can see who's been checking out your profile,
Yeah.
and I try to do it every week. I don't always do it every week. I usually look to see who's been checking out my profile, and it's surprising how often people will check you out, but they don't tell you why
Mm.
they're checking you out.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I started doing a few years ago was I've got the same. This is a bit of a insight here. I've got the same message basically that I send to
Yeah.
people that I don't know. right? Or even if I do know, right, it'd be like, "Hi, Alfie. I saw
Hmm.
you looking at my profile. Was there something you wanted to discuss or you needed help with?" Right? Sometimes people say, "No, I was just being nosy." Sometimes people go,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
I don't remember checking you out," which they
Yes.
obviously were like,
What they have
or
been.
but
Yeah.
the number of times people said, "Yes, I wanted
Mm.
to talk to you about this, but I just got busy," or
Mm.
I didn't know how to ask," or I was a bit shy.
Mm.
It's quite shocking how often that will turn into a business opportunity just by you saying, "Oh, I saw you were looking at my profile. Was there something you needed help with?" And I don't know if it's a British thing or what, but
Yeah.
that's something
So
you still need to follow up on the engagement.
I'll give you just again while it's in my head and we're talking about LinkedIn. Tony Silver, good
Mhm,
LinkedIn expert, does lots of posts about what you can be doing on LinkedIn to accelerate business and attention. And Ian Nicklin, really worth following them both. They every now and again come up with really good advice, and I've seen them both as well.
mm,
I've shared a stage with Ian Nicklin, and he gave a really supercharged, fast-paced keynote. I saw Tony on a one of these situations. Um, but yeah, I I don't have the premium, and
mm,
interestingly enough, both of those LinkedIn experts said you don't really need it.
mhm.
There's enough on LinkedIn,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, good stuff there without using it. But I do what you do in a slightly different way. So I check every day who's looked at me, and when you don't have premium, you can only see about the last three people.
yeah.
But
Unless
you
you're
get
connected to them. If you're connected to them, you can see it,
yeah.
can't you? You can see. Uh-huh.
So I get alerts every now and again as to who's checked. So I'll usually check that every day. And what I my method is, I look at their last post
Mhm.
or two and leave a comment on their
Oh,
posts
yeah, yeah.
and go, "This is a really good idea. This is a good post. I like what you're doing here." Um, and I also on what you said, where people just leave likes, and I say this in my networking group a lot. Um, you can't engage with a like.
Mm,
You
mhm,
can only engage with a comment.
mhm,
So if you're in a networking group and you're trying to support each other, leave a comment. It'll take
mhm,
you 10 seconds. Just fantastic, brilliant. And then that person can then respond. Thank you very much. And that
mhm.
all helps the algorithm. It all helps the business. It all helps the post
Uh-huh.
stay relevant and will hit more people. But a like can't do that. So
No.
just take a few more seconds. If you're in a gang or supporting each other, leave a comment.
Yeah, well, LinkedIn loves comments. Loves
Mm.
conversations, doesn't it? Because that's an
Yes.
indication that
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
something interesting going on here. So,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely encourage people to do that. The other thing I'm just talking about LinkedIn Premium is that if you do pay for it, you get what they call in mails, so 15
Mm.
in mails. So this is, I guess,
Mm.
more from a business development point of view. If you're trying to grow your business and you're trying to connect with certain people or decision makers or leaders, you get 15 in mails, which means you can message anybody even if you're not connected to them, right?
Direct.
Which
Mm.
which is good.
Mm.
Now what
Do
I
you use do you use that? Can I ask you?
Yeah, yeah, I do use it,
Mm.
yeah. What is good though is that if someone responds to you, you get a credit back. So you get
Alright.
15 a month,
Yes.
but if
Yeah.
someone that you're not connected to actually responds to you, you get that credit back,
Mm.
and it rolls over into future months. So
Mm.
I've actually got I looked yesterday, I've got 45 unused in-mails because they
Oh,
keep
that's
rolling
clever.
over.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah. Brilliant.
if you're trying to reach out to people who aren't in your network and you really wanna do some work with, then it is worth doing.
Mm.
And if you wanna try it, Alfie, I can give you a 2-month free trial. Just remember to cancel
Hey.
it before the end of the
Yeah,
2
yeah.
months if you don't wanna pay for it. But I think I still get a lot of emails.
Mm.
Um, most inquiries come through emails
Mm.
or in-person introductions, connections at
Yeah,
events.
yeah.
Um, and I've got a bit of a I have got a bit of a love-hate relationship with email. I think there's so many
Mm.
emails flying around, but I've got to get better at that because I get
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many inquiries through emails.
Email marketing. I know I listen to or follow Kennedy on his Facebook page. It mainly works for him on Facebook, and he's always given good advice on email marketing. But he's talking about you should be emailing people every day, and you should have a big mailing list. And there's
Mm,
ways of making people not fed up with you by using that all the time, and how to write brilliant top lines and stuff like that. So there's good advice on there. I I've got an email list of about and a newsletter with about 1,000 people on my mailing list, and
mm,
I use it once a month, and that's it. I
yeah,
haven't really. You can only do so much if you
yeah,
haven't got a team or a VA or something like that. But
yeah.
that's
Well,
where I'm at.
email newsletters, they're time consuming as well because I do send
Oh
out
yeah,
email newsletters for the platform events and the startup and scale up week events, and it's always it's always disappointing how few people actually open the emails or how many people
yeah, yeah,
click on the links. But
yeah,
even when you look at it and it's like, oh, it's above average, it's still
yeah,
disappointing what the average is,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
but it does work. Annoyingly, it
Mm,
does work over time.
mhm,
You have to keep at it, but there is a fine line between being annoying and getting it right. Some events, particularly, there's an event called Web Summit in Lisbon.
mhm,
I think they
mhm.
do it really well, but they're borderline really annoying but they're very good at building the FOMO,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the speakers and the events are so good that when the emails are
mm,
coming out, even if you're not planning on going, you're looking and going, "Oh, that looks amazing. I wish I was there." And
yeah, yeah.
you don't unsubscribe because you're still enjoying what's coming through.
Mm,
Um, but uh, but yeah, it's I think, it's quicker and it's easier to post something on social media to keep the
mm,
engagement up and
yeah,
to
yeah.
keep you front of mind. Um,
Mm,
just uh, just very quickly, I was reading an interview with Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, recently.
mm.
There's me thinking, oh, I hate email. There's too many emails flying around, and he said we are an email based company, Apple.
Wow.
So I was like,
Yeah.
right, okay, well if Tim Cook does
It's
it,
good enough for him.
uh,
Absolutely.
so,
Yeah.
like, the best, biggest, most successful company in the world, if they're
Mm.
email-based company, then you just have to suck it up, Paul, and you
Yeah.
just have to accept that there's no getting around it. You can't just automate everything and just assume
Yeah.
that your money's just gonna come in and
Mm.
people are just gonna buy things off you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've still gotta use email, and you've still
Oh
gotta
yeah, I
speak.
do, and I still get referrals from email. I just get so much from direct message on LinkedIn, but yes, I do get referrals via email all the
Mm,
time. Yeah.
mhm. So who else do you think is unforgettable? Who do you think's an amazing speaker that you've seen at an event or even online? Who would you
Um.
rate right up there?
Well,
Apart from yourself,
as
Alfie, you know.
as locally in the northeast,
Well,
I
there
would
we
say
go.
I would say Michael Heppel,
Yeah.
who is he's written some great books. I just find his books are so easy to digest, and then seeing him live, it just he blew me away, and he is unforgettable to me, and he's
Mhm,
been very inspirational to me. And Jeff Ram has. I think
mhm,
most of your audience will know Jeff Ram. I'm not sure if they all will know who Michael Heppel is, but I put them both up on the shelf as when I grow up, I want to be them. They are just dynamic, upbeat, positive, exciting, great storytellers, and they're also, I think, there are different kinds of keynote speakers in the multi-speaker event world, and
mhm,
I think there are lots of sort of shiny suit people who are very slick and polished,
mhm,
and you're not. I'm not quite sure what they've done at the end, but the organisations are usually really happy because they've delivered and they speak the language of the business world. But I much prefer people like Jeff who say this is how you can improve your customer service by
mhm,
doing A, B, C, concrete advice,
mhm,
tips, tools, and tactics. I find Michael's the same. How to be brilliant. He does a keynote on write that book. Here are the steps. Here's exactly how you can get a book published. There's exact real nuts and bolts stuff.
Mm.
I prefer those kind of speakers. Daniel Priestley, Sarah Davies, just here are concrete examples. If you
Mhm.
do this, this might happen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I want to be in that mold. I want to give value and say, if you do this, the really funny thing is when you do these brilliant events, and when Daniel Priestley says, if you get how many people, when he asked everyone, put your hands up if you've had a YouTube testimonial from someone who's really happy with your business. And in
Mhm.
the fire station, hardly anyone put their hands up.
Mm. Mhm.
And he said, do that. And
Mm.
everyone's eyes are wide open, go, bloody, I should be doing that.
Yeah.
How many people do it?
Mm.
Hardly any.
No.
And that's the frustrating thing when you go and excite an audience and they give you comments. And what makes me really happy is when people action it or go further and do something on the back of it.
Mhm.
And I try to be one of those people. I don't always live up to it. You can't always do everything and respond to everything, but I think you've got to take action. And the
Yeah.
people who get me to take action are the best speakers.
Yeah. No, I agree. They're my favorites as well, and
Mm,
definitely with Daniel Priestley. So this Super Connected Show podcast, I've had it for a good few years now, and I was doing a
mm,
lot during the lockdown. Then I stopped
mhm,
doing it for a couple of years. I started doing it again last year. Stopped, got busy,
mm,
doing it, and then I've started up again because it's relevant. It's me. It's an opportunity. I do enjoy doing them. I like being a guest
mm,
on other people's podcasts. I like hosting them. I like interviewing people, and it's an opportunity for me to leverage my network and bring in people
mm.
that I think are really inspiring. And it's an example of me being a super connector.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, and Daniel Priestley said you should be on 10 podcasts a year.
exactly.
And I love the way I completely agreed with him when he said he wasn't bothered about being on mainstream telly, and it just wasn't as important because that's very instantaneous and it's gone the next day. So whereas podcasts, you go to podcast, it sticks around forever.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, find podcasts in your area, in your postcode, they're out there. And I've been preaching this ever since I heard him say that.
Hmm.
And have you counted yourself how many podcasts you've been on this year?
Um, I think it's getting up there.
Yeah,
It's yeah,
yeah,
because I've done a few. S I did a few earlier this year. I've done a few since the event. This will be the third of my Super Connector Show podcast that I've done since the
right.
event, and I've got another one coming up as a guest on someone else's next week as well. So I'm probably I should know this, but I'm nearly there, and I'll keep doing it,
Mm.
um, because they are good. They are a good way
Yeah.
to get your message out, and not being a knob, but like I listen back to old ones that I've done, and I'm
No,
like,
you have to.
actually, I sound pretty good there. Like, I actually know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah,
And actually, in the run up to this startup scale up week event, I was listening back to some old ones that I'd done, and it
yeah.
was helping me inspire myself again because I
Mm.
was getting back into
Yes.
the mindset of how I was when I did previous events, and reminding myself why I was doing it and what it was all about. So
Yeah.
sometimes you can inspire yourself by listening or watching to your old content as well.
Mhm. Yeah. I still try and give every time I'm on a pod. This would be my little tip. I try and give the podcast host something that I haven't given anyone else before. A little
Mm.
scoop.
Mhm.
So I give you the
Mhm.
little scoop of I'm doing a August the 12th mastermind on a stage in the Customs House in South Shields. Um, and that's it. That's yours. I
Mm.
I can go
Mhm.
on. I can't go on any other podcast, and that won't be as fresh again.
So,
And by
no.
the way, I practiced that little pitch before I came on with a
Mhm.
pal. I do accountability zooms every day with a pal of mine, Alexander Bell, who's a really good communicator, keynote speaker. He's really good. He's very practical, and um, and we push each other and we challenge each other. And he said, right. I said, I've got to dip out now. I'm going on Paul's podcast. And he said, right, do the pitch now. So
Mhm.
I practiced it before I came on.
Well, you did a great job of it, and it's got.
Yeah.
I think it's the well, it is. It's the week after I get back from my holiday,
Mm.
and if I'm free, I'll
Wow.
have to check my
Yeah.
calendar. I'd
Yeah.
like to
Yeah.
do it. I'd like to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, cool. And then just going back to, you got me
Mm.
thinking about unforgettable speakers, and you mentioned him before. So Gary Vaynerchuk.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, he's amazing what he does. But I remember seeing him when he wasn't that well known.
Mm.
I mentioned Web Summit before, which is now in Lisbon, but it started off in Dublin. So I went to
Mm.
Dublin Web Summit, I think in 2012, 2013, or something like that, right?
Mhm.
And I remember huge auditorium. Back then they had 20,000 people. Now it's
Yeah.
70,000 people. It's just mega, right? But they had this
Wow.
huge auditorium. This
Yeah.
guy came on, Gary V, and he was just effing and blinding and swearing at everyone. And
Yeah.
I was like, who the hell is this guy, right? And he
Not wearing
basically,
a suit.
nah,
Yeah.
and he basically just abused everyone and
Yeah.
said, you're just messing things up. You don't know what you're doing. You're just
Yeah.
losing out. You're not using social media the right way. This is what you should be doing.
Mm.
Everybody in this room hasn't got a clue. But then he told people what they should be doing and
Yeah.
where the
Yeah.
future was heading, and how to get the most out of it. So
Mm.
that would I still remember that now.
Wow.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
you
like,
saw him.
yeah.
And also he always gives all this gold dust and value and do this and this will happen. And he says, but hardly any of you will do it.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah.
And
No,
it's
he's
it
so good at
baffles
that,
me.
and,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Alex Hormozy, he's another one. I think him and his
Mm,
wife Layla Hormozy are really good on social media, and
mm,
their approach is they give away loads of valuable content,
mm,
tips, advice, inspirational stuff.
mhm.
They're not selling anything in any of that,
Yeah,
but what they do is they target everybody that's engaged with them with ads.
yeah.
So it's all for them, it's all about building their audience, building
Mm,
rapport, getting buy-in for the stuff that they're sharing, and then when they've got something to sell, they've got an ad
yeah.
which you'll see, and you've already decided that you like them, so you're
Mm.
probably more likely to buy from them.
Could I mention three women?
Of course.
This is an easy one. Kirsty Young hosting old episodes of Desert Island Discs.
Yeah,
I
amazing.
just think she's a phenomenal host, presenter, interviewer. Her questions are so good. Her research is so good. She finds a line, she finds a theme in a person's life that maybe they haven't even thought of. There's a great episode where Tom Hanks cries
Mm,
because she finds this theme of loneliness throughout his life and throughout his movies like Castaway or
mhm,
it's just a recurring theme and he starts crying. It's a brilliant moment. It went round the world. So Kirsty Young, there's a woman called Nadia Finer who I saw at Thinking Digital at the Sage or Glasshouse, and
mhm,
she's a very, very shy person. Her book is called Shy and Mighty. One of her many books is called Shy and Mighty.
mm,
And again, when people say I'm very shy, I'm very reluctant, wow, she talks about shyness as a diversity issue, and she's brilliant. And another one is Debbie Millman, who is one of the best designers in American history. There was once upon a time you'd go into a store in America, and I think something like 60% of everything had been designed by her. But she talks brilliantly on the Tim Ferriss podcast.
mm,
And there's a 2 hour. She's done a couple of episodes with them, but there's a the
mhm,
first one she did where it's a 2 hour um, inspirational conversation by someone who had all the excuses not to succeed. She'd been abused. It's horrendous, but boy, she's
mm,
so inspiring, but in a very gentle way. She's not loud like Gary Vee or sweary. She's just very modest and humble, but it's got such a rousing finish, that
mm,
conversation with Tim Ferriss. Can't recommend it highly enough.
mm.
Debbie Millman.
Okay, now I'm gonna check them out.
Mm,
There's someone who I always remember, there's a lady called Nancy Duarte. I heard her
right?
speak at Thinking Digital, and,
Yeah.
she do you remember, I don't even remember, so Al Gore, who was the deputy, what was he,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
vice
Yeah. A
president?
vice president. Yeah. Yeah.
he was a campaigner, or still is a campaigner, for
Mm.
environmental
Yeah,
issues,
yeah.
and he brought out a film called An Inconvenient Truth.
Oh, massive. Yeah, yeah.
You remember that? But the
Mm,
film, it's, it's like documentary, but it's a lot of it is
mm,
him on stage with a massive
mm.
screen behind him, and he's moving
Yeah.
around, and there's footage and whatever. So she stagecrafted that and wrote that.
Ah,
She created the slides and the presentation, and created the whole thing for him.
mm,
But that's her business. She's got a business
mm.
that creates presentations for business owners, business leaders, politicians.
Yeah.
She's got an amazing book called Resonate,
Mhm.
just well worth reading. And it's a lot of it is about the science behind what resonates with people's stories, and the hero's arc and the hero's journey and all that sort of stuff.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
And she's analyzed really famous speeches like Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream," Steve
Yeah.
Jobs unveiling the iPod, various others, and there's a pattern to it where it tends to be where they'll paint a picture of this like utopia, and they'll say,
Mm.
this is where things are, but then it'll be like, but we're not there yet. And this is why the problems we've got. But we're gonna get there, and this is what it's gonna be, but we're not quite there yet. It's like up and
Yeah,
down,
yeah.
building that sort of tension, and then it finishes on a crescendo. But she's analyzed it, and she's got like sort of waveforms in
Brilliant.
these
Yeah,
greatest
yeah.
speeches ever tend to follow a certain pattern. So
Mm.
yeah, that's well worth checking out what she does. And I think you can download that book for free. You
All
can,
right.
yeah. It's
Nancy Duarte.
Nancy Duarte,
Mm.
Duarte, and the book's called Resonate.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
That's great to know.
he's off to
I'll put
order it
that
right
down.
now, aren't you?
I would honestly, that's right up my street. But
Yeah.
again, you can talent borrows, genius steals. You can just take elements of that for your YouTube short or your story on LinkedIn for the day. You can talk about your plumbing company or your radiator company in the same way.
Mhm. Yeah, totally. Right, Alfie, it's coming up to an hour. Is there anything else that you want to get across, or that you want to share with anyone that's watching or listening?
Just tell stories. Just keep telling stories, and if you know, don't worry about this post not being perfect. You'll never have perfection. Just progress over perfection. And you saying you listen back to yourself. Keep listening back. Get someone else to listen back for you. Get some constructive criticism. I'm not saying from me, from anyone.
Hmm.
Not your mum or your niece, but from someone who would give you a bit of honest feedback.
Yeah,
And just keep trying to improve. Don't try and stay at the same level. Just keep trying to improve your skills. It's skill based, it's not talent based. I think anyone can improve.
yeah,
There you
love
are. And
that, love that.
yeah, again, that's August the 12th, my stage and storytelling session on stage at the Customs House. You heard it here first.
Amazing, right? Well, we'll share the link. Then, no doubt you will be sharing it on LinkedIn. Did you
Yes.
say you're on Instagram a lot as well? Is that your main platform as part of
It's
LinkedIn? Or?
my it's sort. I've got a speakeasy guy, Alfie Joy, on there as well, so you can see the visuals of what happens. But I would say LinkedIn is where it's at for me.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. All right. Always a pleasure.
Looking
Really
forward.
enjoyed talking to you, Alfie. So thank you very much for doing that, and look forward to catching up with you soon. And enjoy
We'll
your
do it
holiday. You're
again.
going on holiday on Friday, aren't you?
I
So yeah,
will. I
have an
am.
amazing
Thank
time.
you very much. I'll have all my posts scheduled. There'll be no let up on LinkedIn from me. I've got to
Uh-huh.
practice what I preach.
Yeah, I'm sure that. Well, there may be some posts from some exotic locations as well when you're
Yeah.
interrailing around Europe as well.
Yeah, I love it when there's a guy, Jamil Quresh, who he's always doing posts in airports because he's just constantly speaking all around the world, and I always think it really looks good. But maybe I should pretend to be doing a European tour, and I'm in Munich, and now I'm in Paris.
Hey, international speaker.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I did speak around the world internationally in comedy. So I performed in China, Korea, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain. But I now want to do that as the speakeasy guy, keynote speaker. So
yeah. Okay.
let's do
Well,
it again.
if there's anyone listening who's outside of the UK, get Alfie booked.
Come and get me.
Right.
Thanks, Paul. Really
Okay.
enjoyed it.
Thanks, Alfie. Have a great day. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Great.